Hi, I am back with another book review, and today I'm only going to be talking about 4 books because that's what I managed to finish in February. My reading rate has declined. I was looking back at December and I read 8 books. I don't know if it's because I was away from home and it was kind of like a retreat being out of town and I just had more time to read. I don't know, but I'm still happy with 4 books. That's a book a week. That's very doable given that I have other things to do in the day. So starting off with the first book, The Wishing Game by Meg Shaffer. I believe that's how you say her name. And this is the cover. Very beautiful cover. It reminds me of this puzzle that we'd made. It's actually right in front of me. I want to frame it, but it's like a library of all these famous books and a girl reading in front of the bookshelf. So yeah, maybe I'll put a picture in the video. There's this very famous author who writes children's books. He has been on a break. He hasn't been writing books for quite a while. And then all of a sudden he comes out with this new book, but there's only one copy. And 4 contestants, or 5, I can't believe, are chosen to go live on the island that he lives on. It's called Clock Island. And they have to compete for this copy of the book. And whoever wins it obviously wins that copy, and it's very valuable, and therefore they're going to be rich. One of the contestants, her name is Lucy. Lucy wants to use that money to adopt this kid that she teaches. And that brings me to the thing that I didn't like about this book. I gave this, by the way, 3 stars. I just found it weird, the relationship that she has with Christopher, who's the child. She's his teacher or teacher's assistant. And I just don't understand like how that's okay. Like I have a friend who's a teacher, and they have actually have multiple friends who are teachers, and they have very strict boundaries on like relationships with kids. And so I don't understand how that like flew under the radar. It's giving Matilda, like it's giving Matilda vibes. And I feel like in this day and age, this stuff does not work out or doesn't end well. Okay, this is a spoiler, but in the end, she ends up adopting Christopher. I don't understand how he is calling her mom right away. Like he became an orphan because his parents died by overdose. And so I don't understand how a kid can just go immediately calling someone else mom. Like, I feel like that thing takes a really long time to arrive or to get to, like that stage where you can call someone else mom other than your birth mother. I don't know. So I found that very weird and strange. Also, a huge struggle for Lucy at the beginning is that she really wanted to adopt Christopher, but the social worker was like, you're poor, like you have 4 roommates, she can't afford a car, why, like I can't give you the kid, like you're too poor to have him. And she's like, Lucy's character is so baffled by that, like she doesn't understand why her love for Christopher can't be enough, and like she doesn't need the money, she doesn't need to be rich to like raise a child. And I'm like, you're delulu, like what are you talking about? That's like neglect. If you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of a kid? There's just some bizarre stuff in it. Actually, one thing that I liked is it's a very creative story. I've never read something like that before, so I appreciate the creativity factor of it. Okay, so the second book that I read is actually a spiritual book. I don't have it here with me because my partner is reading it, but it's called Amid Passing Things by Father Jeremiah. I gave it a 5-star. I liked how it had short chapters, which keeps me engaged personally. I don't like when there's long chapters. Here it's about very simple concepts. It's a series of short meditations on various topics, and they're very simple. There's stuff that you might have known forever if you're a Christian, but it's sometimes nice to be reminded of those simple things. Third book I read is the Rom-Commers by Katherine Center. I got this special edition. It was actually very cheap because it was a surplus. So I don't understand why this is a trend now, like coloring this, because when I'm putting it on my bookshelf, like, you're not seeing that. It's just cool when like you're reading it or putting it on a table or something. I don't know. This book is about this very famous writer. His name is Charlie, and he's writing a rom-com for some reason, but his first draft sucks because he's very jaded from his failed first marriage. In comes this newbie writer called Emma, and she gets hired by their mutual agent to help Charlie write this rom-com script. And you can guess where the story goes. I gave this book a 5-star. I love that there's no spice. Katherine Center always does that in her books. I love her writing. It's so funny, it's so witty, and it keeps you engaged. I loved her relationship with her father and sister. It's just so wholesome and so nice to read like a healthy relationship with family in books. I related to her pom-pom hair because she has very curly hair, and when she puts it up in a ponytail, she calls it a pom-pom. And that's literally my hair up in a ponytail. One thing that I didn't understand, at some point in the book, he gives this like really long speech at an awards show, Charlie. And it's like, I'm not even kidding, like this thing is like half an hour monologue. Because when I watch an awards show, they're very strict about like the timing of the speeches, and they cut off people like no shame. But this guy kept going and going and going, and I'm like, okay, if you have that power over Hollywood, go for it. The last book that I read is The 7-Year Slip. I actually just finished this today, by Ashley Poston. Clementine is a publicist. She moves into her aunt's apartment after she passes away. And when she walks in, she finds a strange man, Iwan, in her apartment. And she finds out he exists in the past, 7 years in the past to be exact. And she lives 7 years in his future, if that makes sense. Her aunt always said the apartment was a pinch in time, a place where moments blended like watercolors. She also said that love is never a matter of time, but a matter of timing. And Clementine fears she may be 7 years too late. So I gave this book a 4 stars. I liked the fantasy aspect of time travel. It's a little bit confusing at times, but it's a cool concept. It tackles sensitive subjects like suicide and grief. Things that I didn't like, I don't know, it was meh for me. Like, I can't really pinpoint what exactly I didn't like about it or why I gave it a 4 stars. I think the guy was too perfect. Like, he had no flaws. I don't know, I just couldn't relate to the characters that much, so I wasn't like as attached to them. I kind of wasn't invested in their storyline. I just kind of wanted to see what happens with them, and that's it. So yeah, those are the 4 books that I read in February. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next week, hopefully. Bye.